Today you're going to learn how to make a large boba shop size batch of green tea. That looks amazing.
Hey guys, I'm Kristen, the Bubble Tea Queen, and welcome to my channel.
For this video, I will be putting all of the conversions in the description below. This will include the large batch, medium, small, and also individual size, just in case you want to make one drink at a time. I've owned successful, award-winning bubble tea shops for many years, and in this video, you're going to learn how to brew tea. Majority of bubble tea shops will offer green tea or black tea to their customers. So today, we're going to learn how to brew a Jasmine Green Tea. This is a large hot water urn, and these are tea urns. Every day we brew 2 full batches of tea to fill up the entire thing. And by the end of the day, majority of it is gone. It's important with bubble tea shops to brew fresh tea every day because believe me, there is a difference in flavor. An insulated tea urn like this will keep your tea pretty hot throughout the day. And that's why with all of my drink recipes, we start off with hot water first and then add the tea. Because remember, if you're at the end of the day and you're only adding hot tea to your beverage in order to melt the powder or syrup, it's not gonna be warm enough to do that at that point. And at the end of the day, you always wanna make sure to throw away the old tea and take your water and clean out the inside of this container really, really well. That not only helps with preventing any tea buildup or grime on the inside, but also that way the next day when you go ahead and you put fresh new tea in there, you're not carrying any of the old tea into the new tea. Preferably at the end of each night, after they're completely cleaned out, we actually turn them over and the whole entire unit will dry overnight. All right, so this is the size bag that we get our tea in bubble tea shops. This one is 500 grams. Basically, you just open it up. It's got large pieces of loose leaf tea, and it's best to then store it in an airtight container. That way, the tea will remain as fresh as possible. Okay, so here I have some loose leaf Jasmine Green Tea, which I'm just going to put in this container so you can see how it looks. So as you can see here, it's loose leaf. And just a lot of different types of the leaf that's in there. Sometimes you'll find like an actual piece of jasmine flower. I really love the smell of the jasmine green tea, and I think it's an excellent option for the majority of the fruit teas and mocktails. One thing that's really unique is that the customers will be drinking the fruit tea and enjoying it because of the green tea base, but there'll be something really special about it that they don't understand. It's the jasmine. Not only does it release a scent to the person who's drinking it, and it really accentuates the flavors of the fruits, but it just really complements the green tea nicely and gives it something really special and unique. And if you do have a bubble tea business where you are directly communicating and getting your tea shipped in from the manufacturer, you can actually change the amount of jasmine that's in your green tea. So if you just want it to be green tea, basic, that's it. But there's actually different levels of jasmine that you can have added. So if you want it to be a really, really floral jasmine green tea, that is definitely an option for many people who own bubble tea shops. All right, so first things first, as soon as you arrive to your shop in the morning, gotta turn on your hot water. It takes a while for the whole thing to heat up. On this water urn, basically I turn it all the way up, and then as soon as I start to hear it boil, then I go ahead and I turn it down a little bit, and that's when I position the water to go into the container. However, each water system is completely different, so just do what you need to do accordingly. While the water is heating, I'm going to go ahead and measure my tea leaves into a separate container. So I've got my scale. I'm going to put the container on top and hit the tare button. I want to make sure that it's on 0 and grams. All right, here we go. As you can see here, loads and loads of different bits. There's a little jasmine flower right there. So nice and fragrant. All right, so the first part, of course, was weighing the tea, and that was in grams. And the second part is actually getting the water in terms of volume. We're going to be using liters and milliliters. All right, so it sounds like our water is ready for us to pour out. So for the green tea, we need the hot water to be about 70 degrees Celsius. We can go a little lower than that, but we don't really want to go higher than that because then you risk scalding the leaves and it gives a really bitter flavor, and your guests may be able to tell the difference. I've been to bubble tea shops where I've tried their green tea and it just tastes really sort of strange, maybe sort of bitter or a little off. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they just don't brew their green tea at the correct temperature. So just really bear that in mind when you are going to be adding your tea leaves to the water. It's really great if you can get an electric thermometer, and then that way you can actually test the temperature of the water before you put your tea leaves in. And then that way there won't be any problems and your tea will taste amazing. So because I need 5 liters of water, what I'm going to do is fill it up to about 3 or 4, check the temperature. Then, if it's too hot, I'm going to add some cold tap water. And I'm just gonna keep going back and forth until I get it the correct temperature. I do always check the temperature just in case, because again, I want the flavor of my green tea for my guests to be the exact same every time. All right, so I'm gonna start putting in a little bit of cold water so we can get it to the correct temperature. All right, perfect, 70 degrees Celsius. And now we're going to pour 125 grams of the Jasmine Green Tea into our 5 liters of the water. And now we just want to give it a light stir, just to make sure that all of the tea leaves are combined with the water. That way the tea leaves can release their amazing flavor. And we want to cover it with a lid. This is a great idea because it holds in all of that heat, but also, well, because it's a bubble tea shop and you don't want someone bumping into it and burning themselves, because believe me, this is really hot. And last but not least, you want to set a timer for 7 minutes. Okay, our timer is up and we are ready to pour out the tea. So here's a few things that you're gonna need before you do this last step. Now, of course, you need your insulated tea container, 2 large metal sieves. Now, these are the type that you get at the restaurant shops. So these are specific for restaurants or tea shops. So you just pop that like that. And the idea is if you have 2, well, that way if you have any small tea bits, they'll make it past the first one, but hopefully they won't make it past the second one. Because believe me, at the end of the day, when you're getting really low on your tea and you're pouring it out for your customers, even though we all know that tea leaves are safe and they're actually really good for your health, if a customer gets a drink and there's a bunch of like little mini tea leaves in there, they kind of get upset. So let's try to avoid that as much as possible. It's always helpful to have an extra container. Of course, our tea that has been brewing here, and our lid. Now, the reason why I have the trash can right next to it is sometimes when you're pouring it out, some of it accidentally will fall on the ground. Now, if you haven't done your mopping for the day yet, that's fine, and then you can just mop it up. But I prefer just to do it like this, and then that way, if any of it kind of sprinkles out, it just sprinkles directly into the bin. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, so first we're just gonna take off the lid. Again, this is very hot. Make sure you're wearing gloves, make sure your staff are wearing gloves. The last thing you want to do is have them burn their hands. Before I pour it out, I like to give it one more last stir. Here we go. Make sure to put all of the tea into that container. Then we just want to lightly push down on all of the tea leaves just to extract all the last bit of the juices. This is like the best part of a morning routine because it just smells so amazing. And carefully take off the top one and put it in the bin. And then the second one, again, usually shouldn't have any large pieces. It's just to kind of catch the little extra bits. So we'll pop that there. And before we do anything else, put the lid on. Keeps the heat in and prevents anything from accidentally falling in there. So I'm just gonna put this back over on my shelf and then I'm going to wash all of these things off. Super important, do not let any of your tea leaves end up in the drain. It's okay if there's a few pieces or, you know, occasional piece here and there, but of course not the majority of it. That's why we wanted to get as much of this in the bin as possible. That way when you are rinsing it out in your sink, you won't have any clogs. Okay, so that's about it. Now, just as a reminder, that is for a large batch of tea. And if you have a bubble tea shop, you're probably gonna be doing 2 of those every morning. All right, guys, so there's only one thing left to do. Let's go ahead and try the tea. That looks amazing. It's got a really light amber sort of color to it, sort of yellowish orange, if you will, if you hold it up to the light. It definitely represents that color of what you would think green tea would look like. Very, very strong, dense. It's got a really nice, strong thickness of color to it. That smells really nice. I'm definitely getting that green tea scent, but I'm also getting a whiff of the jasmine. The jasmine flowers kind of mixed with that green tea. Definitely smells like something I want to try. So let's give it a taste. Oh yeah, that is nice and strong. Now again, this is a really, really concentrated brew. This isn't something that you're going to, make a large glass of and sip on it. This is for bubble tea recipes, specifically my bubble tea recipes, where we're only using about 100 to 150 milliliters of it for a 350 ml glass. See, because this is strong and the normal person would just not be down with this flavor. But when you use a small amount of it with the ice that's melting and creating that volume into water, and then you've got the flavor of the fruit, this is sort of the base of it. They're getting that green tea flavor accompanied with the jasmine scent, and then they're also getting the flavor of the fruit syrup that you're mixing in. And then of course your drink's gonna be really nice, ice cold, and that's a whole process that we have in all of my recipes, which if you haven't seen yet, definitely check below in the description. I'll be sure to link a few of them, but I've got a lot of them up online that you can check out. But yeah, this is just gonna be your base for your fruit tea. So that's why the flavor profile is so strong and thick when we do this brew, because we just want it there to kind of accentuate the drink, if you will. It is going to be strong enough once it's diluted to fully give that jasmine green tea flavor, believe me. But just as a sort of sample right now, it's good. It's really nice. And like I mentioned before, it's not bitter, it's not twangy. It tastes exactly like green tea is supposed to taste. And the reason why is because we used a lower temperature of the hot water. So just bear that in mind if you are gonna be doing like a single or a smaller batch. Never feel like, I need my tea to be boiling. It needs to be hot, just like when I make black tea. No. When you're doing a green tea, it's super important to make sure that your temperature is approximately 70 degrees Celsius. And again, I will link those conversions for you and all that information below in the description. Well guys, thanks so much for joining me today as I made this amazing jasmine green tea base in a large batch for bubble tea shops. Really appreciate you tuning in. Feel free to leave a comment below, click that like button, and if you haven't already, feel free to subscribe. I bring you a brand new drink video every week. See you soon.